こんにちは。私はカイル・ブリンクです。福山市に住んでいます。カナダから来ました。私はヒバゴンの研究をしています。もしあなたがヒバゴンに興味があったり、情報をお持ちだったり、質問等があればメールをください。もちろんプライバシーは守ります。匿名でも OK です。日本語でのメッセージで大丈夫ですので、ご連絡をお待ちしております。よろしくお願いします。
Okay, I'm sorry. This is your weekly Wednesday featured eyewitness on Friday. I had to take more time on this one, and I'll explain that later because it might not interest everybody. Well, we knew that this gentleman saw a 150 centimeter Hibagon outside his house on the west side of Road 256 on what we call the Yuki Loop. And that's really all we knew. Now we can flesh out some details from this feature article. His name, now we know, is Mr. Minoru Konro. Minoru Konro. And we have his face. So Mr. Konro was out behind his house, cutting bushes with a sickle. He heard stomping, and looked up and found the Hibagon staring at him, staring and stamping and stomping. Mr. Konro waved his sickle as if to say, "Get out of here, you varmint." The Hibagon didn't move, didn't even budge. Mr. Konro was afraid for his life. He ran back into his house, where he says he couldn't stop shaking for the longest time. Now, personally, I can't help but think about how I felt last November when I ran into that wall of fear, or rather that wall of fear crashed down on me. Wall of fear and dread on Mount Hiba. I couldn't stop shaking. Mr. Konro says it was definitely no monkey. It was closer to human. In fact, he said it was close to human. It had piercing, intelligent eyes and a strange, grotesque face. Those are Mr. Konro's words. Close to human, piercing, intelligent eyes, and a strange, grotesque face. Mr. Konro went back out there later and found bushes pushed down. Now, we've met Mr. Konro before. We just didn't realize it. He was guest number 1 on this 1977 NHK program on the Hibagon. This is him here telling his story. And now we can connect this man and this sketch with this second official sighting, confirming what we thought, but now we can confirm it as fact, that all of these 5'3", 5'4" sightings are of juveniles, and even the juveniles are terrifying. Imagine the fright of seeing this big fellow, or even being near him, perhaps, at the solar calendar last year, or having him leave presents behind you in the middle of the trail. And let's agree to call them presents, not death threats. Now the problem that caused the delay. Here's the man's surname, which everyone would read Imato. Imato. That's the standard reading. Everyone would read it Imato. Now that would make his initials M.I. But Saijo City Hall documents, our only source for Hibagon eyewitnesses till now, has the initials M.K. And that's what I put in my book. M.I. or M.K. I couldn't solve the problem, and no one was able to help me. No one I asked. Until I went to our Japanese calligraphy clerk, and she took a look, and she explained it, that these characters can be pronounced in an archaic way, Konro. Konro. So that's how Mr. Konro pronounces his name in a sort of an old-timey style. Minoru Konro, M.K., problem solved. Might seem like a small thing to worry about, but we do want to get all of these details right. We want to dot every I, cross every T. We can't be slapdash. Well, Mr. Konro, thank you for your eyewitness testimony. Thank you for going on national TV with your story. That was very courageous of you. And thank you for your excellent eyewitness sketch of this juvenile Hibagon, Japanese Bigfoot. Thank you, Minoru Konro, second official eyewitness of the Hibagon.